What up, Mini Family, and welcome to the first ever Miniac Invitational Speed Painting Challenge. I had Vince Venturella in town, the Vince, and I thought there's no better way to take advantage of this opportunity than to do a speed painting challenge. That's what we're doing today. Enjoy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vince Venturella, but today I shall be known as the end of Scott's whole career. As we engage in this speed painting thing, I intend to fully end his aspirations of ever being any good at speed painting. You can just call me the end for today.
Hello, my name is Scotty Too Hottie with the banging body, good God Almighty, and I'm here to play. My strategy today is to lean on my expansive and exhaustive breadth of knowledge regarding the painting of vampires to rock not only your world, but also Vince's world back to the Stone Age, or the vampiric Baroque age. Either one will do today. Vampires aren't real?
My general strategy when I'm going into this is to use every muscle that I've built up over years of painting 22 armies. You know, Scott's painted like 3/4 of one and 1/4 of another. This dude, not only are his arms weak and little tiny flappy things, but also his endurance and painting and speed muscles are all weak too. So I plan to just be able to use all of those tools, techniques, and tricks that I've gained along the way to crush him, to see him driven before me. There's no one to cry for him, so hopefully he cries and I just get to hear his lamentations. That'd be really good.
My confidence level going into this kind of competition is sky high. You know, we're doing it in my office. We're painting vampires. Vince stands no chance.
My general confidence level on this, I would say, is pretty high because Scott is a very slow, intentional, deliberate, one might say snail's pace painter, whereas I have a need for speed. I don't mind things looking a little messier or rougher when you get in at 1/2 millimeter away, whereas Scott needs that smoothness. He can't help himself. He's addicted to it. As I said, the end of this man's whole career. Scott loves brands that I don't use, which is good. That's okay. It's a handicap, but I need a handicap because I don't want to crush him so very badly.
So unlike Vince, I can rise above the paint range. It doesn't limit me as a painter because I, as a painter, am limitless.
Obviously, these 20-year-old Citadel paints that look mostly dry, we're gonna skip that.
So no matter what range I use here, I'm going to utterly destroy him.
AK 3rd Gen, this is generally my go-to if I don't have access to Fanatic or Pro Acryl. So what we have to think about is, what are we doing for the cloak? What are we doing for her armor? What are we doing for her skin? And I think we've got her skin very nicely covered. I think these are gonna work in some tandem around the cloak. And then we've just gotta figure out what we're gonna do for armor.
I think it's gonna be easy to lean on the scheme that I've already developed for my vampire army. But to make it a little bit more unique, let's just flip and reverse it. So instead of going with red armor and desaturated blue cloth, we'll go with maybe a blue armor and a more desaturated red cloth. So that's my strategy for today. That and also totally tarnishing the reputation of Vince Venturella, which should be pretty easy. All right, Vince, we're about to start getting this competition underway. One detail I didn't mention about this is the winner from today's video is fighting for ownership of the prestiged Golden Tendy Award. Shout out to Tree for making this and sending it my way. It is a work of absolute art. Are you ready for this?
Oh, 100%. Am I ready to take this award that somebody nicely gave you from this place and take it home forever so you can never have it again? Yeah, I'm ready.
Savage. We'll keep it here as a reminder of the all-time high stakes. I'm ready to destroy you.
Let's go. I'm hitting the clock.
Oh God, where do I begin? We turned the AC off for this so we can get good quality audio, but I just immediately started sweating.
I don't sweat.
You don't? Do you breathe?
A little.
I'm gonna pull an Angel or Angel Heraldez here because he works a lot from black. And if I lose today, it'll be because I never painted a speed paint from black and I will die on that hill. But what he does, and what I did when I first got started painting miniatures, was really lean on that black as a use of shadow and leave a lot of it behind in the deepest recesses, especially on my darker colors, like this desaturated red fabric color.
Oh no, Scott. We didn't get a paper clip
What? Paperclip for what?
to clear your
Oh, pause
paint
the
bottle.
time! Oh my god! The dropper bottle strikes back.
Mm-hmm. We were using pots. I guess this wouldn't be an issue.
Oh yeah, all the pot lovers in the comment section now are
They're coming out in force.
Yeah, they're like, see. So Vince, how much experience do you have with speed painting?
Quite a lot. I mean, I've painted 4 or 5 armies in the course of a day or two or a weekend or whatever.
Are you a slap chop aficionado?
Not really. I'm not really a. I mean, like I have that has been a technique, and certainly I have nothing against it. There's nothing wrong with it.
I had originally bought a Reaper Bones model for this competition, but I was like, I should throw Vince a bone here. He only ever paints GW figures, literally ever, and so I should make it easy on him. At first, I was like, I'm gonna make this guy paint a CMON board game model and just make him suffer,
Well, first of all, I appreciate that you didn't do that. I'm not gonna lie. I am an absolute model elitist. I will make no bones about that.
Let's take a brief moment to thank the sponsor of this video. Corvus Belli is back again, showing off their new game, Warcrow, a brand spanking new fantasy universe from the makers of Infinity and their first box set. Warcrow, Winds from the North. Set on the continent of Lindworm, where the present is hostile and the future is uncertain. The box set contains everything 2 players need to dig into the game, including new unique dice, measurement templates, terrain, quick start rules, unit cards called game profiles, and 14 easy-to-build miniatures from 2 factions manufactured with the new fangled Siocast material in process. The 2 included sides are the northern tribes made up of orcs and Varank that live in the inhospitable lands of the north and they descend from their homes to terrorize humans. Included in the box are orc hunters, vicious orcs strong enough to fight. Wise Mane, a valued chancellor, the evoker, a being with elemental power, and Elbork, the leader and bravest of the orcs. Opposing the northern tribes is the Black Legion from the hegemony of Emberzig. The Black Legion is the only formal army and is composed mostly of bucklermen, but this box brings along a war surgeon, men and women of science, and a Frostfire herald, an elf specializing in elemental magic, all led by the grizzled Drago the Anvil. Corvus Belli is calling Warcrow a game of units. It's designed to be bigger than a skirmish game and smaller than a full-fat army game. The game itself is unique in that it focuses on balanced tactical matchups and an immersive narrative. With alternating activations, Warcrow is designed to be engaging and, most importantly, approachable. There's a turn tracker in the game that features fun narrative events that occur throughout the game, which is important to Corvus Belli, as this war game is a narrative continuation of the board game that they also made that goes by a similar name. As per usual, Corvus Belli already has the core rules available for free to download right now at warcrow.com, where you can learn more about the lore and the mechanics for yourself. Thank you so much to Corvus Belli for sponsoring this part of today's video. We'll have a link in the description below for you to check out the game for yourself. Open the box, discover, read, experiment, and immerse yourself in the fantasy universe of Warcrow with Winds from the North. All right, to increase the speed a little bit here, I am just going to be doing some wet blending to get some initial highlight and shadow on my armor pieces here. The hard part about starting from black, however, is that everything is dark, and so you need to start dark. And if you want to go light like I do with my blue color, you kind of got to have to work it up quickly. So that's why I'm going to leverage some wet blending here to get some initial highlights and shadows.
I am employing a different technique than Scott, not in brush paint application.
Are you finger painting over there?
Yes, exactly. No, in speed painting, the actual key is not to paint the model, okay? The key is to paint what people perceive the model as. What's your spotlight area? What's your focus? What are people gonna notice and look at? And then focus a lot of your attention on that place. If the central focal points of your figure are good, then the rest of it can honestly be almost basically base coated and you'll get away with it.
I think with speed painting, another important thing is to not get trapped in the mistake of working on an individual part to completion. You really need to work everything up kind of at the same time, so at any given moment you will have a completed paint job.
Scott, do you feel like the fact that you have a proper brush grip is an advantage for you or a disadvantage for you in this case?
I think that a proper brush grip is an advantage for me in all walks of life when it comes to, you know, just being a better husband and, you know, all things. Although you probably want the handicap, right?
Absolutely, of course. As I said, yeah. You know, for years I did not realize that I had a problem with this or that like I was different than anyone.
Yeah.
And I like, had to go back and watch my footage and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my God, I have a weird claw. I'm bad at this.
You in Goobertown, yeah, you grip that boy. Do you grip the airbrush strangely as well?
No, the airbrush, I mean, I'm not worried. My airbrush is like, game is on point. Okay. But,
Dude, it is not. I have seen that thing. It is a cry for help. It is dying slowly.
you're talking about the dirtiness on the outside of my brush? It's
Yeah,
fine.
dude, absolutely.
My airbrushes all work all the time, except for the one that I broke when I deep cleaned it. So there you go.
That's what you get for trying to maintenance stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly. Never do that again. Tell you what.
Are you a brush licker, Vince?
Yes, very much so.
Glad to know that we agree on at least one thing.
Absolutely. Well, there's multiple things I'm sure we agree on. You know, at least one of which is that Creed is an awful band.
Oh, you're wounding 12-year-old me right now, you know?
I mean, first of all, thank you for giving me that power.
You know, I did give a strategy for today in the pre-interview. My real strategy is just to pray to our Lord and Savior, Jabba Lucas, to deliver me from this.
Jabba Lucas, save us all.
You ever get to a place where you don't want to paint much?
Not really. It's always something that I find to be very positive, frankly. The thing I hate the most in miniature painting is right after I finish a project.
Okay, deciding on a new thing.
Yeah, like I don't mind the immediate step, like there's quite a reward when you finish it. Things like that are very mentally rewarding because like you get to put everything back in its home. But then the choice of what you work on next, because that's what comes out of that. The next thing you have to do is figure out what are you doing next.
And what about that is annoying, challenging, frustrating?
I am very much someone who suffers from the paradox of choice. When suddenly I walk into my closet and I have everything, then I'm torn again between like what's good for a video, what do I need to work on, what do I want to paint for myself, do I have enough time to paint something for myself, right?
Or how often do you paint something for personal enjoyment versus like a good subject for a video? Or do they often align? And if so, how often do they align?
I try to make them align most of the time. Like most of the time what I'm working on for my video is whatever I'm working on for myself. But there's still a difference there, right? Like you cannot paint to your highest quality on camera. Like actual high level competition painting is not a thing that's easily recorded, one, but even deeper than that, it's not something that's very easy to explain or film because it's just a lot of like back and forth and figuring things out, and then you get something wrong and you're like, okay, let me move this over here, and so on and so forth. What do we got here, 90 minutes?
Although this is a video, we could just fake it. No one would ever know. You want to pay for 4 hours? You want to really impress people?
This is what we did in 90 minutes. Feel bad about yourselves.
That's my number one goal normally when I'm putting together a video for YouTube. It's just like, how can I make my audience just feel really bad about themselves? Are you leaning on washes at all for this?
Never.
Is there a reason for that?
I mean, I just don't like washes. I don't like the effect they have. I don't like what they do to the miniature. I use washes all the time on stuff like basing. The problem is I don't know where the appropriate place where you would ever use a wash is, because it's just like on a miniature, that's just not how light works. It almost always just makes every recess darker, and that's not how light works.
I mean, that's how light works in a simplified way.
In an extremely simplified way, yes. One of the reasons I like washes on bases, frankly, because a base is usually like a flat surface where you have kind of the same general orientation to the light. Yeah?
Yeah.
So when
it's
you're
all
setting
a flat thing faced upwards.
Correct. So when you're setting the lowest tone, you're just that's the lowest tone, right? Like it's one universal shade. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Vince, what kind of strategies in miniature painting do you leave behind when you enter the world of speed painting?
A lot of really fine glazing is gone. Certainly stippling or something like that is out of the question, right? Like you're not going to do sort of hardcore stippling. Do you use a lot of stippling to like finish your blends or anything like that?
Only when I'm like really thinking about it and like when I'm being really intentional about wanting to make a texture. But otherwise, no, it's a lot of really thin brush strokes.
Gotcha.
Yo, she's got a small face.
She does. Her face is so gaunt as well.
Yeah, she's got very steep and shallow cheeks, and I just got like a really long face.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
That being said, I'm not struggling at all with it.
No, I'm sure. I'm proud of you, son.
Hey, no, you're not supposed to be nice to me, okay? Vince's old man eyes are striking right now.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Oh my God, that actually does make a huge difference. Okay.
Oh no, we're getting like level 2 Vince right now. Vince that can actually see the model.
Mm-hmm.
Up until this point, you've been virtually blinded.
Basically.
What is a acceptable amount of time to paint a grunt in a horde army that you don't necessarily care about, or you're not trying to achieve tournament quality outcome?
I mean, I think it varies because you're often going to do some kind of batch painting on it to some degree, right? So it's hard to look at it and say, well, what's the actual individual time you're spending?
What would you estimate is worth it for you?
Yeah, probably an hour or two.
Okay. But you're not too concerned, is what I'm understanding.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
For my rat cast, those were like a minimum, the simplest figs were 12 hours.
Per one.
Per one, yeah.
All right. What's your policy on painting miniature eyes?
Always.
Always. What if the sculpt of the model is so poor that you can't really see them, but you can see like the sockets of eyes?
You can build them usually.
And is that something that you would try to do?
100%.
Okay. One thing that's really nice about this hair, and a lot of GW hair, is that it's like really sculpted in a very defined way.
Oh yeah.
Which is super helpful for like overbrushing. You can just run your brush along the detail with the side of your bristles and just catch so much of it in like a perfectly acceptable way.
Yep.
Look at this blue wash real quickly.
Wow, that's really intense.
You see how vibrant that is? Yeah. 3, get the fuck out of here. What are you doing?
I want to try it.
Okay, I feel like an asshole. I like literally swatted your brush away.
No, that was way better. I hope that goes in.
All right, that's time. Put your brushes down. All right, let's do a little comparison on schemes here. Dude, you and I painted the same model. Literally.
Amazing.
What on earth?
What's really funny is I did not look at your model literally the entire time we were painting.
I peeked and I was like, that looks similar.
That's
but
very funny.
What the heck, dude?
That's amazing.
Okay, with the blue armor, I was not going for NMM. I was going for an ice blue. But you start from such a dark place.
Yeah.
And you need to work it up that what ends up happening, and this is part of the thing that I didn't plan for, you leave so much darkness around because you can't just keep base coating such large portions of the armor with the light color to build it up.
Yep.
And so it just ends up looking super contrasty.
Yeah.
Oh, did you actually paint the base?
I mean, sure.
You trying to flex on me right now?
We really did, completely blind, and I cannot say this enough. We went and chose our colors independently. We sat down. I did not look over at your model at all, and we both came to nearly the same place, right?
If you look at the individual paints we picked out and just compared them, you wouldn't think that it would then end up this close.
Right. And you can see the little nuances, I in general am running more contrast across the figure than you do, which it would be exactly like that, which as is our two styles, right? So look at the hair halo on yours compared to the hair halo on mine.
I definitely phoned in the hair a bit. That's one area where I wasn't spending a lot of time. I say one thing I do like about your paint job more than mine is I like how you interpreted this piece of fabric.
Yeah, broke
down
up
here.
the red. I think it does a lot.
I think it
up
does.
The torso.
I think it does, yeah.
And what I love about yours is it's still very much you, even though it's speed painted, Scott.
Yeah.
I still see so much of you, the way you handle the soft transitions in this blue is so nice. It's so classically you. I just mean that you have a really good eye for doing these really nice GW style, really interesting visual transitions where you move just enough color to make it visually interesting, but not so far to make your life impossible where you're trying to run from black to white as I often am.
Yeah.
And I think it looks really good. It's really readable.
Yeah.
I really like it. I think you did a
you.
great job with that.
Thank you, yeah. Let us know down below who you think won and is deserving of the Golden Tendy Award. If you don't know Vince already, you'll find his channel linked below in the description. Above all other YouTubers, he has the largest and most impressive repository of every single imaginable skill that you could ever dream of doing on a model. If you have a question about how to do something, Vince has made a video about it, assuredly. Check him out, subscribe to him. He's a wonderful content creator that I love so much. Vince, thank you for being here. Oh, we're hugging now. Okay, we're dropping the antagonistic wrestler persona.
That's right. And look, at the end of the competition, right? After the antagonism's over. That's when, like, it's like the boxers, you know, at the end. Like, you just beat the crap out of each other. But at the end, you shake hands, you hug. You just went through a thing together, a trial, a travail, right? And you both came out the other side.
Right, yeah.
That's right.
We did it together, really.
That's right. So, yes, thank you for having me. Absolute pleasure, buddy.
Subscribe or die! And most importantly, don't forget to... All right, I'll mail this to you if the comment section prefers yours.
Oh, boy.
More mayonnaise!